Good morning, everyone. Uh, we have a talk that focuses on intersection of generative AI and one of the India's rich yet underrepresentative language, Odia. So this session will explore where the Odia stands in involving the landscape of AI and the opportunities ahead. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Shantipriya, who is a distinguished expert and through the leader in the field of NLP and multilingual AI. As currently working as a senior AI scientist at AMD Celio AI, Finland. Before joining this current company, Shantipriya sir worked as a postdoctoral researcher at IIT Research Institute, Switzerland. He has obtained his postdoc in machine translation from Charles University, Prague, Czech Republic, PhD in computational neuroscience from the Utkal University, Odisha, India. He has completed his Master of Technology in Computer Science MTech from Utkal University. So before joining postdoc at Charles University, he was working as a system architect at Huawei Technology India Private Limited, Bangalore, India. So he is an AI expert with almost 15 years of experience in software development and architecture, as well as expertise in machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing. He has also led the NLP research in EU H2020 and INNOS USA project, as published top tier venue, also edited 2 books on the low resource language, served as a guest lecturer in generative AI, Aalto University, UIT, Norway. He actively contributes to the NLP community through organizing WAT workshop, mentoring with the Women in AI Finland, and serving on editorial boards. So please welcome Shantipriya sir for this upcoming next talk.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Maybe we start a bit late due to physical participant, but no problem. So I think from online people have already started joining. So without delay, we'll start. So my session will be, we have shifted for 20 minutes. So we'll start from 9:20 to 10:20, and so that the next speaker already available here, Pratik, he will start his session. So here is the agenda. So my talk is mostly focused on the generative AI landscape, Odia language position and potential. So when we are talking about generative AI, so I'll start the session with some basic introduction of generative AI and language model, because looking at the audience, starting from engineering student to researcher, so I thought maybe I'll try to mix little bit of balance so that people can understand what is language model and what is the generative AI, what is its market, and so that it will be mostly useful. And the main focus will be like Odia language, like where it stands when we are talking about generative AI, exactly what development has been done in Odia, and what other things we are trying and where it leads to. And this is the agenda. So starting from generative AI, language model, LLMs, and I'll also explain about little bit about multilinguality, like why it really required. Why we are really focusing on providing or building this technology for the language, and some case study, like already you have seen yesterday also, we have released a reasoning model, and time to time we are releasing fine-tuning, pre-training, and other multimodal LLMs. And so although I'll not cover all the case studies, but some of the case studies I'll try to focus. Mainly it will tell exactly how to build. For example, if somebody is trying to build a language model in his own language, then how he can build it. Maybe for English and other resources, other languages, resources are heavily available. You can get the data and you can just try to build your model. But what about other languages? And recently, although I have not only I worked in Odia, I worked in many languages. So today also we have one more speaker, Professor Dilip. He is also joining. Recently we also helped them building LLM in one of the ultra low resource language. When we were called Odia, it's a low resource. We worked in one of the language spoken by certain communities in Norway, that is called Sami. His talk is there. So you can also see how we help them to build LLMs for their language, Sami language. So, and why these things are really required, so that I'll try to focus. And some of the case studies I'll explain. So starting from generative AI, as I think there is no need to explain it more, but as you know, everybody is more or less they are acquainted with generative AI. So if I try to ask like how many of you are using ChatGPT, can you just raise your hand how many? So I don't think means there is any introduction. So everybody like in daily life we are using generative AI, means at least in form of different tasks. So for example, if the students maybe they are doing this GPT model to perform their homework, and newspaper or this reporters or media persons they are using to generate contents. So recently one media person, he was discussing like they prepared a content entirely it will be generated by the video using AI. So similarly for whether you are accounting, any profession you are there, whether you are a doctor or you are engineer, so more or less everybody is using generative AI, and this market is going very fast. So it is estimated that it could be reached to 20 trillion by 2030. And the main thing is that it saves a lot of work hour. So I hope everybody agrees to this point. So you can save lot of your time. For example, personally, I use like when we used to, for example, I need to do some promotion of this event. So many times I use ChatGPT. Okay, I have. Can you frame this content so that I can publish it? So it will be very fast. Otherwise, I need to write the content, verify by someone, check linguistically it is correct or not. So it's just one day. If somebody asks me now, right now, any media person asks, can you give a write-up about your workshop, I can do it maybe in half an hour, which is not possible without the GPT model. So more or less it saves a lot of man-hour. But I am not saying like directly it could replace all human effort, but it can save a lot of working hour. And when we are specifically talking about generative AI, it is a category of AI, artificial intelligence, which mainly focuses on generating the content. And when we are talking about this content can be anything. Content can be, for example, in any of the form or any of the modalities. Like for example, you are generating the content, you are generating content in text form, like which you are using in ChatGPT, or you are generating one image in multimodal form image, or you are trying to generate some video. So this can be anything. So mainly this generative AI, if somebody asks, okay, what is the specialty? So one thing you need to understand that it is a part of the AI or a category of artificial intelligence, which is mainly focuses on generating the content. So that one will be the clear definition, I can say. And basically it refers to these algorithms and models, and it can generate new and realistic data. So that is the quite important. Although AI was there, AI is not new. Like yesterday, Professor Ashish Ghosh said, AI is like from 1940. AI was there. But what is new in AI? But the main thing is that AI was there, everything was there, but the way it was generating the data, that is awesome. Like now, if you look into this generating new data, it is more realistic data. So you maybe think like why it is possible now, why it is not possible in earlier days. Maybe you think that if AI is not new, now we are able to generate realistic data, then why don't we able to generate the same thing in previous year? So anybody has any idea? If I ask what is your thought, why we are not able to generate such content earlier, now it is possible. I mean, after coming of this generative AI, or in last few years, maybe 2-3 years, we are able to generate such kind of content. Because AI is not new, algorithm is not new, data is not new, but then why we are not able to do such things? Have you ever thought?
What is the computing and storage?
Yes, sir.
The second part is content on net, so that they can crawl and develop.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, actually, I agreed. So, if we look into two things, is there. One is one thing is the data. Data, even earlier days also data were available. I'm not talking about low resource data like English or other data. Data were available. The main problem was the processing of this high volume of data. So when we are talking about these algorithms and generating the content, so we don't have such technology which can process these billions of tokens or billions of sentences in such a span of time. Like for example, after this GPU or the computing resources, yesterday you might have seen Manmohan's talk. He was explaining what is the need of this high performance computing, and today already my next talk, Pratik is there. He from AMD. He can explain you more detail. The main thing is that we have the data, and now we know exactly how to process the data to generate the realistic content. So that means we have now enough. We have the computing power is available. That means we can load these billions of data and we can process the data. That means these algorithms can process this data and they can generate the contents. So the key characteristics, as I mentioned here in generative AI, it will be like a creativity and learning from the data and autonomy. Autonomy, although I'll not everybody not agree that means completely autonomy, but it has reached to a certain stage that where it can take some kind of decision. So that is kind of autonomy. So these are the three characteristics of generative AI. And capability of generative AI, I think there is no need of any further discussion. So you can content generation, already you know it can generate content. You can create some music generation or 3D modeling like protein folding and other video creation, editing, game development, chatbot, image creation, code generation, art creation, voice generation. That means the creativity part, if you look into the previous slide I told, the creativity part is also added. Like means earlier, if you try to write a poem, maybe it is not possible. If you ask AI, okay, can you write a poem for me? Maybe it is not possible. The algorithm doesn't know exactly like how to write a poem. For example, now if you say that I want to generate an image or draw an image, it can generate the image at the same quality as an artist. Because now the problem, now we have the capability to process these billions of data, and these earlier also algorithms are there, but algorithms, the processing power was not there. So for example, I remember like when we used to start coding in for example C++ or anything, when we are trying to load a lot of data, it's really we used to struggle that processing and those, but nowadays that is not the case. So there are this generative AI capability is enormous, like you can do lot of things. And the market also is you can see the potential of the market or the future of generative AI. So it expected that it will be around 1.3 trillion market by 2032, because it is growing at a speed of around 42% compound annual growth rate. This is some report from Bloomberg. So you can see that the trend in the right side I highlighted in the image. So you can see, and the ChatGPT, you might know, it is the fastest growing internet app in history. So after ChatGPT came, I think no such app has gained so much popular like ChatGPT, and these LLMs are actually transforming all the industry from stock trading to fraud detection. So in every, if you ask me any of the industry or any of the professions, more or less they are using generative AI. That means whether he is from pharmacy or he is from medical or engineering. So everywhere we are using. So this is the generative AI market. And this already I explained, the industry is revolutionized by the LLMs, and it has applications in different, starting from finance, education, media, military, fashion, marketing, law, retail, healthcare. So wherever, and if you look into all these industries, what is the common thing, or where it uses the generative AI? So if you look into all the industries, so generative AI is used for generating the content throughout all these industries. So this is all about generative AI. But what is behind generative AI? So now we know, okay, generative AI is great. Now this is the market and those. But exactly how this generative AI works, so that I'll try to explain in few couple of slides. But before that, we need to know exactly language model. Every time we talk about language model or large language model. So what is that? So exactly I'll try to explain. But maybe to the audience, I may ask you to, in a layman form, can just someone tell what is a language model? How you understand a language model? Anybody? Some are there interns, some are maybe already professionals. Sir. Yeah, it's true. So I'll. Is true. So if you look into the language model, what is behind language model? So that is, I'll try to explain some basic. So at least after my session, you have some understanding of what is generative AI and language models and LLM. So if you look into language model in very basic terminology, it is a probability distribution over sequence of words. So if you look into language model, it is nothing but, and whenever we are talking about this word means here maybe many times you heard this word tokens. Tokens means it is the basic unit of a sentence where we cannot further split into. For example, in Odia, if I say that, okay, mu gharuku jauchi, maybe mu gharuku jauchi, so those are like the tokens. Similarly, for English, I am going, okay, I am going, so these are like the tokens. And mostly when we are talking about probability distribution, so how this language model works. So if you have a sequence of words of length, assume m, a language model assigns probability from P1 to Wm to the whole sequence. And language models generate these probabilities by training on text corpora in one or more languages. And mostly it talks about the probability intuitively tells how good a sequence token is. So for example, when you try to generate a contents, now assume it has assigned some probability distribution for each of the tokens, and now when it is trying to predict the next tokens, then it will use this probability. And you know that the probability means where the probability is high. For example, I say, maybe I'll give one example here, it is already there. So this is a very simple example you might have seen many times, but I can explain it. For example, you say that you have a vocabulary. So when we say vocabulary, it will be a set of tokens. So these are my tokens. I said that tokens means it is the basic unit which normally we call like word also, that is fine. So this is like 8 ball, cheese, mouse, D. Now maybe these are like these are only tokens. The language models, internally it will try to assign during the training, it will try to assign some probability for each of the sequence. So the sequence might be, the first sequence might be the mouse ate the cheese, which is 0.02. The cheese ate the mouse, maybe 0.01. The cheese ate 0.001. So that means if you look into the highest probability, for example, you want to predict the next token. So it will always choose based on the probability distribution, it will try to find out the highest probability for generating the next token. And this is the way language model works. So you might have seen in the ChatGPT when you are trying to form a query. Okay, before that ChatGPT, I'll give you a simple example. I think everybody has seen this. When somebody has asked in your mail, are you coming tomorrow? The moment you say reply, it will tell some automatic content like yes, I am going, no, I can't. So like this you might have seen, like automatically it will generate content. Or you might have seen that whenever you are trying to say in mail formation or something, how are, then automatically it will fill you. How it knows? Because it knows that okay, this will be my how are, and what will be the probability of the next tokens u. Maybe it has in vocabulary a lot of tokens are available, but what will be the highest probability for the next tokens? So the next token is u, because models know that okay, over period of time, like in the vocabulary says, whenever it is late how are, so most of the time after how are it will be u. That means the probability is u will be highest. So during the training such things is happening, and it predict that one. So if you look into language model, so as I said, it is nothing but a probability distribution over a sequence of words. So that one language model. So why I talk about language model? Because before LLMs, LLM is nothing but we call it a large language model. That means only the it only has more layers is only added, nothing extra. So when we are talking about large language model, it will be same like a large language model. It's a neural network with billions of parameters. That means trained on vast text using self-supervised or semi-supervised learning. So it is a language model, but with more capacity we can say, or more neural network layers have been added. And these LLMs mostly primarily built on this transformer architecture. I think everybody have seen this transformer architecture. So I'm not going to explain the details of transformer architecture, otherwise it will be completely one session. But and also I agree it's not very easy to understand the transformer architecture, which I have given you. I think many of you have had this architecture, and in many of the interview questions, Generative AI, they ask you to explain the transformer architecture, and I think maximum people fail to explain it properly, understand, and so I'll not go into much details. So, but yeah, so like those are the technical people, they can you can try to find out the transformer architecture. So this architecture, so this is like basically one of the core component of these large language model. So here what happened, the parameters are high, and they trained with a vast amount of text data, and these LLMs are based on this transformer architecture. So whenever now I think you have more or less clear about what is language models and what is LLMs. And I think yesterday also Anup was also explaining about reasoning models and various types of LLM types. So whenever many times you have heard this jargons like autoregressive models, encoder, decoder. So what exactly do it do? So whenever we are talking about like this ChatGPT, so if you look into in the previous slide, the transformer architecture, always you will find there will be like a encoder and there will be a decoder. So encoder decoder means in a very layman form. So can anybody explain what you understand by encoder and a decoder? So when you talk about encoder and a decoder, so many times you heard this word. Yes, sir.
Simple terms, computers understand numbers. So encoder is a process of converting a word into a number in a particular.
Yeah. So, or I can refine it in such a way that now in encoder decoder, even you have had. So generally, okay. I'll explain in terms of a machine translation. So generally, what we do, for example, you have a text. Now you try to process this text into a context vector. And again, this processing part is called the encoding part, and in the decoding part, okay, you use this context vector to again form the text. For example, I want to translate from English to Odia or some other language. So encoder part will do this processing of this encoding, and the decoder part will take your input and decode it again back to your target language. That means if you have a source language, it will try to take the English as a source language, try to generate a context vector, and again from using the context vector, it will try to generate the target language. So if you look into this architecture, here also the first left side, it will be we say that this is the encoder and this will be the decoder. And if you look into all these language models which are available, so they are actually divided into different types of LLM types. We say that ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, if you look into, this is a decoder model. So decoder model means you already, for example, it will take your input and it will try to generate the content. So if you look into we say that okay, this encoder decoder model this T5, I think how many of you, means many people have know about this T5. These are, we call it the encoder decoder. That means it has an encoder block and also it has decoder block. Or yes. Yeah, I'll explain. Yeah. So in the GPT models, actually we don't do anything. That means already the model is trained, and we are using it is just as a decoder part we are using. That means we are just providing the input and it will generate the content, which is only the decoder part. But if you look into T5 models are actually, they have different capability. For example, in when we are talking about GPT, they are only used for content generation. So in the T5 model, although it is similar to language model, but that model architecture has both encoder and decoder part, where the encoder mostly during the training times, it use both encoder decoder. So you can do different tasks, not only from only the text generation. For example, if you want to do some kind of language processing NLP task, for example, you want to type some named entity recognition and other tasks, then you can also use those kind of model T5. And all this before this GPT or T5, few years back, if you look into this, bot models are actually quite popular. So I think many of you have heard that bot model, and recently I think the first bot model in Odia, I think maybe I remember 5 to 6 years back, I think I released a bot model in Odia, first bot model. When the bot came, I thought, oh, where is bot model in Odia? Nothing was there. Then I tried to somehow build. It is still available, and the codes are available in. I have recently tried to retrain that model with more data, bot Odia model. And if you try to search in internet, I think the first paper will come bot Odia. That hype means not me, means we have in a team, we published that one. Maybe that is in 5-6 years back. And but recently what I did is like I put enter code like for anybody can practice it. I just put in my Hugging Face, in my GitHub repo, so anybody can take with a Collab notebook. So you don't have to do it. Already data and everything I put it there. So you just have to run it, and it will generate your bot model. So bot model is called masked LM. So maybe you had, okay, what is masked LM means? So masked LM means so if you look into the example, like we have given the mask SAT. The mask means the bot models. How it works, maybe I'll not go details, but in a very simple example, assume you have a sentence. Now you have a sentence, you try to mask some of the tokens from the sentence. So some of the tokens means you can define your masking percentage. Suppose for example, I'll mask 10% of my tokens. That means it will be this the model during the training, it will try to predict these masking tokens. So for example, in this case, the cat sat, but we try to mask the cat part. That means the dash sat. So during the training, model try to predict it. For example, 5% of the token we masked, and again we try to predict those 5% of the word, so or 10% of the word. So during in this phase, it will try to learn. So for example, as I said, when you are typing it, like how is the weather? How is, next you say that, okay, how is the weather of maybe Bhubaneswar or Cuttack or anything. Now you try to put some tokens as masking tokens, and during the model training it will try to predict those. So this is like mostly the bot models. So still bot models are using for different languages. So I think those are learning new or these LLMs types, I request them, okay, LLM, generative AI, these are maybe the reasoning model, these are fine, but you start from the basic. You try to understand the basic, like try to build your own bot model. For example, try to data are available, data is not a problem. For example, you can download the data, like actually these required your unsupervised text. Unsupervised text means you don't need, only you need the plain text or the raw text. So I think I don't need to explain between unsupervised, supervised. But I used to ask in during the our interview, or when I start interviewing the interns, we start from this basic terminologies, because these things are really required. Until you understand that, people think they just do fine tuning, pre-training. But when we ask them, okay, you explain language model, supervised, unsupervised, the basic terminology, many interns or people fails to explain. So that's the reason I stress that, okay, if you try to learn first, you try to understand these bot models and other, then okay, you can go for reasoning and other models. So these are the LLM types. And next I'll just show you a LLM timeline, because this timeline shows like how these models have been evolved or developed in a recent time. So if you look into these bot models, in few years back it was popular, like then it came like from this LLMs, the Llama model was quite popular, then came Queen model, now DeepSeek is quite popular. So the trend is going on. And every time if you look into, you'll find a new terminologies are coming, and many technology or development is happening. So maybe I'll not explain much details here. So I think now everybody knows about, means little bit of understanding about generative AI, what is language model and what is LLMs. Now I'll talk about the little bit about multilinguality, why this multilinguality is important, and how we are trying to build technology in multilinguality. So I think everybody is okay. Generally we have certain queries I used to ask to know about how much you know about the languages. So if you look into ethnology, so in all over world, around 7,000 languages are available. But if you look, the challenge is, if you look into, okay, now where about the data? Like why you are talking about low resource, or why you want to develop this? So if you talk about 7,000 languages, the Wikipedia, for example, it is considered one of the source of this data. So you can find Wikipedia provides content around 313 languages. Then what about others? And still, if you look into Odia Wiki, if you look into the volume of data available in different languages, still you find the Odia Wiki contents are less. That means data are not there. And apart from 313 languages, many languages there, they don't have any data. Data means the content in digital form. Means whenever you are doing anything, you need to take the content from somewhere, right? So those contents are not available. And I didn't add here a few of the slides, but many languages, like in all over world, many languages also, like many languages dies. Dies means there will be very few speakers who knows that language, because many languages, they don't have even a written form. That is only people know, just they talk, means they have this verbal communication, and that language there. And many languages they are also completely extinct, or they dies, because they don't have any digitized contents, nobody knows. And I think during the last tsunami, when came in India, there was a language. There is only one person of one language. It was, I think, in Times of India also they published an article, like during I think in Andaman Nicobar, only one lady was there, and she was the only one person knew that language. And during tsunami, she died. And that language is gone. So, language, that slide I didn't add, I just remember, but yeah, I can show you now. So that was actually big news came. So I mean, there are many such languages there, so they are completely extinct. Even if you look into like a yeah. Actually, they have some community. For example, assume some community, they have very few people knew that language. Assume in tribal community, for example, they have a group of maybe 50 or 100 people are there. So some languages they are there. Slowly, the people knows that particular language. They dies, or means whatever is happening. So that language actually nobody knows. For example, now assume like in Odia, many such words are there we are not using. So, for example, like yesterday, Manmohan was telling, he said that, okay, he's a little bit struggling when speaking. Maybe our language is complete different story. Like we say that we have 35 million speakers or 40 million speakers are available. But many such languages, like recently I was worked in a language, Sami. I think the professor, he will be also have a session today. So they have only 30,000 speakers. So many languages are there, they have only 1,000 speakers, 500 speakers. And when this number is get reduced, then the language will die, because there will be no written form. And many languages are there. Yeah, I can show the slide after this. I could not add it, but yeah, I can show that language and the story. So my question is like many such languages are there, then they died. So now you say that, okay, wiki is there, many contents are there, because I saw the statistics. Wiki only supports 313 languages. Maybe if it will be more, around, assume it will be 350 or something. But in world, there are 7,000 languages. That means many languages there. So when we are trying to build such technology, these language resources, as I mentioned, they hinders the development of natural language technology, including language model. So if we, the first focus, that's the reason I try to first focus is building the resources. So if you have the resources, then you can build any kind of technology, whether it is a bot model or a large language model or reasoning model. So where is the data? Like yesterday, as we have seen, we literally struggle and we try to build first the reasoning data set. Then only we can build the reasoning model. Building the model is not a problem. You can, because if you have the resources, data, you can just build the model. But where you will get the data? So that is the main challenges. So for example, I'll try to, due to shortage of time, I'll not explain more case study, but I'll give you a simple case study. Like for when we try to build fine tune of LLM for Odia language. So this we published, I think, in 2023 we published this work in the AIML system conference. So this is like a fine-tuned Llama 2 model. So I think many of authors are here. So this is this work I think already got lot of appreciation. But about that, I'll tell you a little bit about our Indic languages. So Indic languages, if you look into, mainly we have 4 major language families: Indo-Aryan, Dravidian, Austro-Asiatic, and Sino-Tibetan. Like most of our language, like Odia and those, it comes part of this Indo-Aryan language families. And most of the South Indian languages, they comes in the Dravidian languages. So there are we have 22 scheduled languages, we said. And when you talk about the speaker, you might know 8 languages in the world that top the 20 languages. So if you look into a Bengali, the number of speakers of Bengali, it stands in top 10 languages. That is maybe due to the entire Bangladesh is they speak Bengali apart from this West Bengal. So many of the languages there, but not all. If you look into many of these 22 scheduled languages, many of these languages are also low resource languages, or the contents are less. So if you look into 30 languages with more than 1 million speaker. 1 million speaker is less, it's not more. And also we have 40 major script, and out of which 20 originated from the Brahmi. So we have different languages. And also the challenges is that actually in India, the languages are from different language families, and they are follow different scripts. Like yesterday we are talking about how we support, because the scripts are different. Scripts are different means in terms of LLMs, if you look into, when your scripts are different, that means your tokenizer is also different. So tokenizer means, for example, how you are counting the words or counting the tokens. That also will be different. So for example, in English you have only 26 alphabets. Now in Odia it is 49. That means whenever you are trying to build a language model, the context length whatever you fixed for English, that won't work for Odia. Because the Odia, if you try to build a tokenizer, the English tokenizer may not work for Odia, because our scripts are different. So why I am trying to see, whenever we are trying to build such technology, then first you have to understand all the basic things. You have to understand the language, then only you can able to build the technology. So and why we want to build this technology? So now this is one of the statistics I have given. So it is not completely up to date, but this shows the percentage of usage in Indic languages. So this is English versus the other Indic languages. So if you look into the stats, the number of Indians and the English language internet across the India from 2011 to 2022. Although we are using the English internet user versus the Indian language internet user, so it is growing. It is growing means we can say that the number of users are there. So that means we need to build some technology to support them. So that is the idea. But how to build it? As I said, there are several challenges. Obviously, as I said, data is a problem. Where you will get this data? Somebody will ask, I want to build a reasoning model. Is a reasoning model dataset is available for all the Indic languages? No. Is a tokenizer is available for all the Indic languages? Maybe some tokenizer support, but not all. Now again from apart from data and tokenizer, we have dialects. So English, okay, English is okay. I am not telling that okay, all the maybe English accents are there or they speak English in a different way in maybe in UK. But we have also different dialects. For example, the way we are talking in Odia, there are different dialects that are available. Barampur, like many people are there. The way they speak in Barampur, maybe it is different from in Cuttack. The way we speak in Koraput, maybe it is different from Sambalpur. So we have dialects. So for example, now if somebody is trying to build technology, then how to build? Because the mainstream is Odia. Maybe somebody will available a data set, or maybe you will find a data set, or you translate a data set from English to Odia. But do we have such translation tool which can translate from English to Sambalpuri, or English to Koraputi, or English to maybe Barampuri? No. So
Is this only available in India or Odisha? So globally also Chinese, they are also having the same problem.
they have having the same problem. Yeah, I completely agree, because I few years back when I was in Switzerland, Switzerland, you know, in Switzerland they speak three languages. One is German, one is French, and one is Italian. So based on the region, they speak these three languages. Either you will be in French part, or you will be in German part, or you will be in Italian part. But the German language we speak in Switzerland, they call it Swiss German. So that is completely different from the German. That's why they divided into standard German and Swiss German. And when they try to build technology, for example, I worked there like building some technology for language detection and other. Then they also, like for example, they are in the TV, means all the TV and other electronic devices. So that form will be in Swiss German, because that dialect is a little bit different. So this problem is not for like Indic, like this dialect problem is not only for India, it will be for across the world. For example, like when you go to Norway or you are go to, so they also like the dialects, like it will be differ. Like it's like in India, it's quite often. That means if you just travel 200 kilometers, everything will be got changed. Your maybe dialect will be changed, your food will be changed, or the tradition, culture, many things will be got changed. Or if you just start from one state to other state. So the moment you, for example, you start from Odisha, you enter into Andhra Pradesh, everything will got changed. The food will change, language will change. From Odisha also, if you start from here to some Barampur, again everything is changed. And but the thing is like that, it is quite often here. Maybe if the same thing is happening in Chinese also. They have like a standard Chinese, and they call it like Mandarin, and so they have also different versions. So that is the problem. Dialect problem is everywhere. So the problem is like how to adapt to this, how to adapt to this technology. So that is the question. Scripts is same. When we say dialect, the basic definition of dialect means what is there. The problem is like that. The written script is same, but the way we speak is different, and that's the reason we call it as a dialect. Because Sambalpuri, when you say Sambalpuri, you write Sambalpuri in the Odia script, or you write Barampuri in Odia script, or Ganja means Koraput, Desia, or whatever. The written script is same, but dialect is different, and there is the problem of the technology has to adapt. Because if you say translate from English to Sambalpuri, same, like when the written script is same, right? But dialect is different. Then how it will understand or how it will do? And those are the real challenges. And when we are talking about this Indic LLM development, so these are the real challenges. So for example, when we started, for example, I have given this example. Okay, maybe this is not relevant now, because now the OpenAI or the LLMs knows better than this, or maybe they have better answer for this. When we started, like that time I think OpenAI just recently launched, and I try to query, like I try to query, okay, you give me some query, I ask, okay, can you explain me the recipe of Rasgulla, or what is the famous food of Berhampur? It doesn't know. It doesn't know like what is the famous food of Berhampur. Maybe those are in Berhampur, here they can tell what is the famous food of Berhampur. Because it doesn't know. Because I asked, okay, what is I asked many questions related to Odisha, like the culture, recipe, famous personalities, many things I asked. But I could not get the some valid answers. So, sorry? So now, as I said, because these models are also evolving, now you'll get a better answer. Then I thought that what we can do. Means there is two options. Either you just have to wait and watch like when the model will start providing the answers, or you have to do something. So there will be two options. For example, I asked or raised a question: is it such a translation tool is available from English to Sambalpuri or English to Odia, or any LLM is available, like where you can input your text in Sambalpuri, it will give you a response back. So either you can do one thing. So this is the questions I raised. Maybe you can just wait and watch somebody will do, or you have to do it by yourself. So okay, I thought, okay, now we are building we know like how to build the technology. Okay, can we do something for this Odia model, or make it better? So in that sense we just started. So what we found is like at that time, like that is my approach. Maybe after that many people have started adopting, like many researchers in India, even for outside, they also felt the same thing which I felt in the first initial days. Then I thought, what is lacking? For example, now models are there, so the only lacking was there the domain knowledge. Because LLMs are there available, so they didn't have understand of our domain knowledge. So can we just build some domain knowledge data set, and we just fine tune the model? We don't have to build the model from entire scratch. The model is available. We have to just train the model or make the model understand our culture. So can we do that? So in that sense, actually, we started initially try to build a data set. So what we did, like this is a quite simple approach. What we did is we take a few of the existing data set which are there in English already, and we just translate it into Odia. But the main thing what we did, the differentiation, is that we try to build our own instruction set, domain knowledge instruction set. So we try to collect different topic, including like Odia recipe, historical places, temples, arithmetic, health, political leaders, sports, general knowledge. So these data are available. So we try to collect all this data, and I think the first Odia domain context data set, I think it is already available. Also, many people are using. So we try to build such 10,000 such instruction set we build. And apart from this, like existing data set what we translated, so we try to around 180K instruction set, and we try to fine tune the model. And after this, the model was able to understand. So because earlier a model was not able to understand, like yesterday Manmohan also explaining when recently for one of the use cases to a very global vendor, like they used our Odia model, Odia pre-trained model, and they asked initially they asked ChatGPT and others, like what is Nuakhai, or how you explain Nuakhai. But they were not getting very good answers. But our model, like when they trained the models with all this domain knowledge and others, they use for that is they didn't use this model, but they use our pre-trained model, and they are able to explain properly, like what is Nuakhai. Now you explain that, okay, I need the Odia calendar. So if you write typical things in Odia, it is able to answer. So that is the like The first thing we did, and model experimental detail, I'll not go into details. So experimental details are same like the standard. We just use a Llama 2 7B model, and we just train the model, and after that the model is able to learn. Model is able to learn means it is a fine-tuned models, and it was able to answer it. So that time actually we just tried a simple automatic and human evaluation score. So automatic evaluation score we try to just try to fit the rose and blue. So rose and blue, I think those are in NLP domain, you might know. So basically they in machine translation mostly they follow this blue score, like where you have you generated some output and you have a ground truth. Now you just try to compare it, how much they match, or in the rows, like you try to find out the semantically how they match. So based on that they have to score. But these are automatic evaluation. We tried some manual evaluation, like we have taken some sample of 100 or 200 and generate the content, and we are doing. I think the same thing, like now I asked our interns after the reasoning model what we released. Now you try to evaluate our reasoning model and say how much it is correct. Then only we can publish it. Like maybe publish in the form of blog or anything, but we need the statistics. For example, assume you take 200 equations and ask to our reasoning models and get the answers back and try to compare with the ground truth. How many of them are correct? So these are the some sample output. Maybe in the paper it will be clear. It is not very clear here. So same questions what we did, we asked to ChatGPT and against our model and try to compare. So we found, okay, for many of the instances, also our model performed better, and for some of the instances, even ChatGPT better. But thing is, like mainly we are focusing, like after building such domain knowledge, whether model is able to learn or not. So that was as I said that, okay, model is able to know what is Nuakhai. Suppose if you ask the model, what is Sitala Sashti? Whether is the model is able to learn or not, because these are our context or our culture, or models may not able to understand the global models. So there actually we need to build our own model. For example, when the government says that we try to build our sovereign Indic LLM, what does it mean? That means the model will build by our own, which can be useful for our people, and it will be free of cost. Because there will be two issues. When we started, like yesterday, I think Kusumlata Madam was explaining. So we want to solve the two major problem we identify. One thing is that all these models which are available, so these models has definitely associated with some cost. So I think all of you are using OpenAI. You have to pay some fees, right? It will not be free. You want to build some app. Today you want to build some app. So you will not get a free model in Odia. Free LLM in Odia that which is completely free, that you don't have to pay the fees. That is the major one challenge. Second challenge is the privacy. Now you are a government officer or you are in defense or anything. How much you trust to feed all your content to ChatGPT? That is the second. So these two things we want to avoid. That means we want to build the model, and anybody can use this model, and it will be free of cost. And that's the open source is there. And not only model, the data set. All the data set we are releasing, so that anybody wants, they can download the data set, they can use, or they can download our data set and further fine tune it. So that is like our objective. I think this is already already available, so you can see it. Due to time constraint, I could not play, but yeah, if you let me try. So this was like the initial model. So in the initial model, I think already better models are there. Like when we try to build whether you type in English or you type in Odia, we can get the response back in Odia. So for example, in the first question I asked those do not understand Odia. So I asked, like, what is the result of dividing 16 by 4? It says that, okay, it says that the literally is like the answer will be for 4 means it will be like answer is 4. If you divided 16 by 4, it will be 4. So for example, I asked, like, give me a example of a palindrome. So palindrome means it understands, the model understands that, okay, what is palindrome, and it will give you answer in palindromes, like various things we tried, and it is able to understand. So for example, if you ask, okay, what is generative AI? So you can use the model, either you type in English or you type in Odia, it understand. And after this, actually we try to incorporate text to speech. Then you don't have to type it also. Like if also in the same reasoning model, we are trying to incorporate it, so that you just type it, you just speak, it will convert your speech to text, and again the answer back from text to speech. So then you don't have to type. So this is the first model. So sir,
the code mixing, does it support Odia English only or Odia and Hindi or memory or
this model support Odia and English, Odia and English. But actually, like the recent reasoning model, what we are trying to build, we are building in different Indic languages: Odia, Marathi, Bengali.
what's the importance of script, like English part, hello, like Odia IBM and hello, like very good. Will that work? Just asking. Yeah, code mixing, they use this different script. If it is that language, that script. So English language, English script. Like I'm going to Day-2 hospital का English रहे तो मतलब how like a little bit that you understand both.
Yeah, it understand both. It understand both hospital. So only issue what we found, that some Odia term, means some English terms, it won't able to find the exact Odia. And so where it just replace with the English word, because even we don't know. For example, if something like a table or something, okay, the book is on the table, so exact table, maybe even many such words there in Odia which we are not able to understand now. And that actually it's not a good, because it's a bad thing, because otherwise such words will be absolute. Because if we don't use such words over the period of time, if nobody use, it won't be available like in digital content and those, and slowly it got absolute. So whenever, like in the OCR work, what we are trying to do, when we are trying to build the data set, many such words we are finding in Odia. Even interns, they ask me what is the meaning. Even many words I don't know honestly, and that's the reason we have a linguist. We ask them what is the exact meaning of this word. So because in day-to-day life we are not using, so that is, I think, not a good sign, because we are using, means slowly we are limiting our vocabulary to certain words, so which we should encourage.
There is something in the context like have those
Actually, mostly the instruction set, actually they understand the standard Odia. माने आमे जमती how I can say, for example, Odia रे आमे जति कोई, if we try to say that okay, आपनो खान्तु, माने generally how we read in a typical Odia, the model understand in the same way, because in instruction sets are like that. So we don't say, for example, the tone. For example, like how to, when we say that okay, you speak in a different tone, or you provide respect to this particular form. So all these things to make the language understand, actually we need to build such instruction set. Jodi gote assume to a model, I say that okay, you write a application to a principal, considering okay, as a student. That means the model should able to understand that okay, how I should write a application to a principal. He is a respected person, so how I should address. So for such things, actually our everything, actually all these things are based on our data set or instruction set. So we need to build the instructions accordingly. So that's the reason actually there is something we built. Also it is available in our Hugging Face, which we call a role play data set. That means what is your role? Your role is as a student or as an instructor or as this, then okay, you need to put lot of data such, then only the model is able to understand. So that's the reason I told, although we are doing this, many things are unsolved till now. For example, I told this proverb. like ଆପଣ କହିବେ ଯେ you try to take the model, translate ଘର ଢିଙ୍କି କୁମ୍ଭୀର. That means the literally the meaning is different, right? So is the model is able to understand? So you can try in OpenAI. I am not telling, you can try. So many such things are available which is unsolved. So who will solve that? So nobody comes outside. We means either we need to think. First thing is that we need to think the problem. Then we can think, okay, how to solve. So we are actually, what we say that, okay, maybe it's not one day it cannot be solved, but we are like what are the problems we have identified or I have explained. So we are trying to solve in that direction.
I just have a question about the training process. So there is an official language, Sarkari Odia, versus Open Odia.
Yeah.
So when you train, you have got all the data, right? That's Sarkari Odia from regular publications, books and all that stuff, and Open Odia also from storybooks and everything. Right? The system making an output, sometimes you may have Queen's English or colloquial English, right?
Yeah.
What system, how do you train to tell in the context, okay, now you speak or compose your answer in Queen's English or this thing?
Yeah. Actually, the training training process is same. Only thing is that in the data set, both forms should be there. So, for example, like that's the reason as I was telling, like we are building some role play data set. Role play data set means it knows that, for example, conversation between two persons in a typical language form, not in a the standard form like how we are framing in the official documents. So for example, that's the in the role play data set and those, what we are trying to do, we say that, okay, this is the conversation between two in this particular form. So such data should be there in the data set, then only it will be able to understand. Then when I try to ask the model, okay, you write in official Odia, or you write in just formal Odia, then it able to understand, okay, what does it mean by formal Odia, or what does it mean by official Odia, or what does it mean by a Odia or a Sambalpuri speaking person. So those actually have to include in the instruction set. So I am not telling that, okay, in our model everything can be handled, means everything is handled, but those are the real challenges as you have identified, which not only our but other other researcher has to carry out. So because everything is boiled down to the data. So if in data nothing, means such things are not available, then model cannot understand, because model never seen such things. But for example, many times we found model never seen such words, so we cannot, it just failed. No, now it will mostly in official Odia. Official means it, yeah, exactly. Although we included a few of the text, only what issue we are facing is that the source of the data. For example, the verbal means newspaper, you can take the standard Odia data set. For example, the way we are speaking in daily life, only those data you can collect from Twitter or from social media content. Yeah.
That data set of both or multiple type of data, including some of the words or something like that. How is the system known to produce? Is it through instruction sets?
It is through instruction set. For example, you say that, okay, write these things in Sambalpuri form. Then the model, if model has already have the Sambalpuri data, then model knows that, okay, what does I mean by Sambalpuri data? Yeah. So everything will be. So yeah, so this is like the final part. We have actually releasing many models. Yes.
What is the difference between ChatGPT and Grok and functional?
Actually, both are like LLMs. If you look into ChatGPT or Grok or these reasoning models or the DeepSeeks, only the architectures are different. they followed different architectures. Otherwise, the functionality wise, actually, they are same. And second thing is that is one thing, and second thing is that the way they collect the data. Where they collect the data means like some of the models they already trained on the existing set of data without knowing the recent information. And some of the models they also have access to data, recent data using available in the internet also. So that is second thing. But the main difference in the architecture, like how they build these models.
Which one is more efficient?
That is maybe somebody those are using frequently, they can comment it. Grok actually I have not used much, so I cannot means honestly I cannot answer that. Okay, which one is better? Maybe if Prabhanjan knows anything. Actually, it is a comparison is a little bit a subjective matter. So actually, as we know, like we started like initially from the fine tuning of the model. Then we started the pre-trained model. So many of you, I think this model is not many people have used, but this is actually a really good model, the Queen model what we have used. And even yesterday Monmohan said they have actually used this Queen model, Queen 1.5 billion Odia, this 7B model, and they continued pre-training. That means this is a pre-trained model. So these models actually we have trained on the CultureX data of 49 million tokens, and they what they did, like again they took our models and they added more data, and they again continue the training. So this is a pre-training model, that is also a good model. I think it is available in Hugging Face for download. I think it is a gated model, but also these models is freely available for commercial uses. I think that is the first model we released for commercial, but with a gated, like you need to raise a request for our permission to provide, because only reason is that okay, all our model what we do, like it is mainly for a research purpose. So if somebody want to use for commercial, then okay, they have to discuss with us. But we don't have like such thing like in Odia, for example, you want to build some app or anything, then okay, freely you can use it, no problem. And I think recently you have released the reasoning model, and now you'll officially release it, like maybe Play Store, Sambit and others, they are working on it, so that now the APKs are available. Like if you want to test the models, you can download the APKs and test it the model. But if you want from Play Store, it will take some time. So that is like the reasoning model. And also actually we are working on multimodal LLMs, like not only text, we are including the image and other modalities to build the models. So maybe I think already I crossed the time. So but no problem, I'll be available here. So if you have any question, feel free to ask me. So thank you for listening.
Are you aware of any entrepreneur trying to use this model and building some app?
Actually, some entrepreneur actually they have requested me for mainly for educational content. For example, this like they want to build some model like reasoning models for building educational content to teach the students those things, where the students can try to solve these equations and questions. So we said we are free, like anyway we are releasing the model freely, they can use it. And some entrepreneur, they want to build some specific applications using these models. So only thing is that actually for building any commercial application, you need a very robust model which can pass all the use cases. So that I said, okay, if you want, we can discuss, so that at least we don't want that because of our model their product fails. So yeah, I think that's all from my end. So, and the conclusion, yeah, I can say that the domain knowledge, it's the very crucial thing to include. And second thing is that community effort. Like as I said, one person cannot build, even we need a lot of effort from community, and some awareness will be there. So hope during my presentation I am able to explain the real problem, what is there and what we are trying to do. So thank you for listening. And sorry, I think Prabandhan, so I took some time.